You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Big movies are on the way in 2025, like James Gunn's Superman, Marvel's Fantastic Four, Jurassic World Rebirth, and the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. In this video, we're breaking down some of the biggest upcoming films, whether they'll make a cultural splash, become internet meme gold, or rake in hundreds of millions or even billions at the box office. And with some of these massive budgets, hitting $1 billion might just be the benchmark for success. With that, let's dive in and check them out one by one. Minecraft. Minecraft has climbed its way to being one of the most beloved games ever, letting players of all ages build, explore, and create in its pixelated sandbox. Over the years, it's grown into a pop culture phenomenon, but one thing it hasn't had yet is a feature film. That changes in 2025. The Minecraft movie, directed by Jared Hess, the mind behind Napoleon Dynamite, is set to hit theaters on April 4th, 2025. While details about the plot are still a mystery, we know the cast is stacked. Jason Momoa will lead the film, with Jack Black reportedly playing Steve. Joining them are Jennifer Coolidge, Matt Berry, Kate McKinnon, Jermaine Clement, Emma Myers, and Danielle Brooks, who's set to team up with Jack Black for a musical number. That's all we know for now. Get your pixelated pickaxes ready. This one's going to be big. Mickey 17. We've been waiting forever for the release of Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's follow-up to his 2019 Oscar-winning masterpiece Parasite. Hard to believe, right? Back then, who would have thought we'd still be waiting over half a decade for his next film to drop? Set to be an existential sci-fi comedy, Mickey 17 stars Robert Pattinson as a series of expendable clones on a mission to colonize a new planet. The movie, first teased in December 2022, was originally slated for a March 2024 release, but has kept us in suspense ever since. It sounds like a total mind-bender, but you can bet we'll be watching when it finally arrives. Fingers crossed it doesn't get delayed again. Elio. In 2025, Pixar will mark the 30th anniversary of Toy Story, its groundbreaking first feature film. However, the studio continues to push forward with fresh and exciting ideas beyond its iconic franchises. One of the most anticipated original films is Elio, written and directed by Adrian Molina, who co-wrote Coco. Elio follows the story of a young boy named Elio, voiced by Jonas Kibraeb, who is unexpectedly transported to an intergalactic senate where representatives from various worlds convene. Mistaken for Earth's official representative, Elio must quickly adapt and learn how to speak for the entire planet. The film features a star-studded voice cast, including Zoe Saldana, Jamila Jamil, and Brad Garrett, all bringing their talents to this space adventure. Though the film's behind-the-scenes team has seen some changes, with Domi Shi and Madeline Sharafian stepping in as directors, replacing Adrian Molina, Elio is still set to deliver Pixar's signature blend of heart and imaginative storytelling. The film is slated for release on June 13, 2025. The Smurfs movie. The Smurfs are making their big screen comeback next summer with The Smurfs movie, hitting theaters on July 18, 2025. This time, it's a musical, previously called The Smurfs Musical, and the first Smurfs film since 2017's Smurf: The Lost Village. Leading the charge is Rihanna as Smurfette, who's not only voicing the character, but also producing the movie and co-writing and recording its songs. Behind the scenes, there's serious talent involved, with Chris Miller, the director of Puss in Boots, and Pam Brady, a writer for South Park, on board. It's shaping up to be an exciting reboot for the franchise. Next summer is packed with big movies, but the Smurfs movie should hit the sweet spot for family audiences, just like Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 did this past summer. Freakier Friday. More than 20 years after the original, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are teaming up again for a Freaky Friday sequel called Freakier Friday. This time, Anna Coleman, now a mom herself, finds herself swapping bodies with her mother, Tess, all over again. Initially rumored to head straight to Disney+, it's now confirmed that the movie will hit theaters on August 8, 2025, with a Disney Plus release to follow. While there have been 4 versions of Freaky Friday over the years, this marks the first ever sequel. Nostalgia for the 2003 remake is still strong, and this follow-up could be a major box office hit. Fans who grew up with the original will now have the perfect opportunity to share the magic with their own kids. F1. Brad Pitt's highly anticipated F1 movie is speeding into theaters on June 27, 2025. The story follows a retired Formula One driver, played by Pitt, who returns to the track to mentor a talented rookie. Directed by Joseph Kosinski, the genius behind Top Gun Maverick, the film promises heart-pounding immersive action with cameras placed inside real speeding cars to put audiences right on the racetrack. This is Apple's big shot at making a blockbuster after the underwhelming performance of Argylle and Fly Me to the Moon. With Kosinski's knack for delivering thrilling visuals, F1 is shaping up to be a must-see on the big screen. If it's anything like the Top Gun sequel, it could be a massive hit. Sinners. Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are teaming up once again for Sinners, hitting theaters in 2025. The pair, known for their collaborations on Black Panther, Creed, and Fruitvale Station, are diving into the horror genre for the first time with this historical vampire drama. In Sinners, Michael B. Jordan stars as twin brothers uncovering dark forces in their southern hometown during the Jim Crow era. True to Coogler's style, the film explores themes of race and the Black experience, blending supernatural horror with the real-life horrors of the early 1900s. Fans are eager to see how Coogler weaves these elements together and how Jordan brings this intense story to life. The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun franchise is getting a reboot, hitting theaters on August 1, 2025. Liam Neeson is stepping in for Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin Jr., likely the son of the original Frank Drebin. Pamela Anderson will play his love interest, and Paul Walter Hauser will take on the role of his captain, Ed Hawken. While the plot is being kept a secret, it's probably going to be another over-the-top, ridiculous police spoof. A Naked Gun movie without Nielsen might seem strange, but there's some solid talent involved. The Lonely Island's Akiva Schaffer is directing, with a story by Seth MacFarlane, the creator of Family Guy. With comedy films on the decline lately, if this reboot does well, it could bring the genre back to life. The Battle of Bacton Cross. Paul Thomas Anderson's newest film, The Battle of Bacton Cross, is set for release on August 8, 2025. It's his most expensive project yet, with a budget twice the total gross of his highest-grossing film. It's also being called his most mainstream film, featuring plenty of action, explosions, and car chases. While that's all still speculation, it definitely sounds exciting. Leonardo DiCaprio is leading the cast, and Warner Brothers is banking on his star power to make the film a success. There's a rumor that the movie is a modern take on Thomas Pynchon's Vineland, bringing the Reagan-era satire into today's political climate. If that's true, the Battle of Bacton Cross could spark strong reactions, but it also has the potential to be a really intriguing movie. 28 years later. In 28 years later, the Rage virus is back, threatening a new group of survivors. While the plot details are still unknown, the film is already generating buzz for being shot entirely on an iPhone 15. Of course, there were special rigs and lenses used to give it that cinematic feel, but it's still a major step for filmmaking on a mobile device, making 28 years later the biggest iPhone-shot movie yet. The 28 Days Later series has earned praise for its focus on the human side of the zombie apocalypse, influencing shows like The Walking Dead and movies like World War Z. 28 years later comes 18 years after 28 weeks later, but Cillian Murphy is back to reprise his role as Jim, the lead character from the original film. He'll be joined by Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Ralph Fiennes in this post-apocalyptic thriller. Wake Up, Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. It's nerve-wracking, this one. The first was excellent, and the second beat the odds to be excellent also. The longer these franchises go on, the likelier they are to produce a stinker. But they've pulled it out of the bag twice in a row, so why not a third? Ryan Johnson's still directing, and this time he's got Josh Brolin and Josh O'Connor, Andrew Scott, Mila Kunis, and Kerry Washington at his disposal. Sounds promising. At the very least, it'll be worth going just to see whether or not they do in fact manage the mythical movie franchise hat trick. Watch out, Toy Story, they're coming for you. How to Train Your Dragon, June 13th, 2025. After 3 successful animated films, 3 animated series, and countless spin-offs, the How to Train Your Dragon franchise is still going strong, but there's one thing it hasn't tackled yet. That's about to change in 2025 as the franchise prepares for its first ever live-action movie. This new film is described as a reboot of the original story, with franchise creator Dean DeBlois returning as both writer and director, so longtime fans can rest easy knowing the story is in good hands. To bring the live-action versions of Hiccup and Astrid to life, DeBlois has cast young stars Mason Thames and Nico Parker. Gerard Butler will return as Stoic, Hiccup's Viking father, helping to bridge the gap between the animated and live-action versions. The film will also feature Julian Dennison, Gabriel Howell, Bronwyn James, Harry Trevaldwin, and Nick Frost as Fishlegs, Snotlout, Roughnut, Toughnut, and Gobber, respectively. A first look has already been released and has received positive feedback so far. Predator Badlands. Prey, which saw a Native American warrior take on one of the Predator franchise's alien hunters, was a refreshing change in the era of endless IP reboots. It brought something new and exciting to a familiar brand instead of just following the usual formula. Now, Predator Badlands is on the way, and with Dan Trachtenberg returning as director, there's hope it will continue to push the franchise forward rather than just retread old ground. While details are still scarce, we do know that Elle Fanning will star in this next installment. Snow White. Over the past decade, Disney has been busy bringing its animated classics to life in live action, but its most iconic animated film, Snow White, hasn't received the remake treatment until now. In 2025, Snow White is finally getting a new live-action version, and it's bringing along some big names. Directed by Mark Webb and written by Greta Gerwig and Aaron Cressida Wilson, this reimagining stars Rachel Zegler, the breakout lead from West Side Story, in the title role. And of course, every Snow White needs an evil queen, so Gal Gadot, aka Wonder Woman, will take on that iconic role. While Disney's recent live-action remakes, like The Lion King, have done well at the box office, there's some uncertainty about how this one will perform. It's already sparked controversy, from the decision to use animated dwarves instead of live-action little people to Rachel Zegler's critical comments about the original film. Will Disney's brand be enough to overcome the drama, or will it hold the film back? We'll find out on March 21st, 2025. Captain America: Brave New World. After Sam Wilson took up the Captain America mantle in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, fans were eagerly awaiting his own MCU movie. Captain America: Brave New World was originally set for May 2024, then pushed to July, and now has been delayed to February 14th, 2025. The film also underwent a title change from New World Order to Brave New World, likely to avoid the political connotations of the former in a time of upheaval in the U.S. At San Diego Comic-Con, it was confirmed that Giancarlo Esposito will star as Sidewinder, a lesser-known villain from the comics who's part of the Serpent Society and has a cloak that grants him teleportation powers. It's unclear how the character will be adapted for the MCU, as the franchise often reworks characters to fit its more grounded live-action universe. Sam Wilson will be donning the shield to battle Sidewinder and Thaddeus Ross, who will appear as the Red Hulk when the film drops in 2025. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Paramount recently released the trailer for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the latest installment in the franchise. This film will pick up from the evil AI and missing submarine storyline introduced in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. While it's not explicitly called the end of the series, the title suggests it might be the final Mission Impossible movie, or at least the last one with Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. Dead Reckoning Part 1 underperformed at the box office, which is why Paramount dropped the Part 2 from the title. However, the film's timing, coming right after the Barbenheimer phenomenon, played a big part in its lackluster performance. With The Final Reckoning promising to be one last ride, it could still become a major hit when it hits theaters on May 23, 2025. The Electric State, March 2025. Before the Russo brothers return to Marvel with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, they'll showcase their blockbuster skills with The Electric State. This Netflix film is loosely based on Simon Stålenhag's graphic novel and features a screenplay by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, who worked on Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. The story is set in an alternate 1990s, where a civil war between humans and machines has torn America apart. In the midst of the chaos, a teenage girl and her robot friend embark on a journey to find her missing brother. Millie Bobby Brown stars as the lead character, with Chris Pratt playing a smuggler who aids her. Giancarlo Esposito takes on the role of the villain, Marshall, a drone pilot hunting the pair. The star-studded cast also includes Ke Huy Quan, Anthony Mackie, Billy Bob Thornton, Stanley Tucci, Jenny Slate, Brian Cox, and Jason Alexander. The movie is expected to drop in March 2025, and while the budget hasn't been confirmed, reports suggest it's around $300 million, comparable to Infinity War's budget. With such a hefty price tag, it'll be interesting to see if the Electric State can draw enough attention on Netflix to make it worthwhile. Jurassic World Rebirth. There's never been a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie that didn't perform well at the box office. Even Jurassic World Dominion, which got poor reviews, still grossed over $1 billion. Despite being marketed as the end of the Jurassic saga, Universal wasn't about to let the franchise go. On July 2, 2025, they'll release Jurassic World Rebirth. With Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali leading the cast, the film has plenty of star power. Directed by Godzilla's Gareth Edwards and written by original Jurassic Park writer David Koepp, Jurassic World Rebirth is already set up for success. While it's likely to be a hit regardless of quality, it's looking promising as a potential return to form for the franchise. Thunderbolts. Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts is set to hit theaters on May 2, 2025, following Captain America: Brave New World in February. The film is essentially Marvel's version of DC's Suicide Squad, bringing together a team of anti-heroes for covert Black Ops missions. The cast includes Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, with Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, and Wyatt Russell all reprising their MCU roles. Unlike the typical superhero movie, Thunderbolts promises to be more of an action thriller with a semi-grounded tone, similar to The Expendables rather than the grand spectacle of the Avengers. The trailers have hinted at a gritty, intense approach with strong performances from the star-studded ensemble cast. The Fantastic Four: First Steps. Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four: First Steps is slated for release on July 25, 2025. This will be the third MCU movie of the year following Thunderbolts. The film marks the long-awaited reboot of Marvel's first family after Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox in 2019. Set in a retro-futuristic 60s-inspired world, First Steps will see the Fantastic Four trying to defend Earth against Galactus and his herald, the Silver Surfer. Kevin Feige has assembled a star-studded cast, including Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm. With the previous Fantastic Four adaptations not exactly hitting the mark, there's a lot of potential for First Steps to redefine the franchise and become a major hit for Marvel. Superman. The rebranded DC Universe is set to launch on July 11, 2025, with a new Superman reboot. This marks a fresh start for the DC Cinematic Universe under the leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran. Gunn, who also writes and directs, has cast David Corenswet as Clark Kent's Superman. Instead of retelling Superman's origin story yet again, Gunn's film will focus on Clark Kent's journey of reconciling his Kryptonian heritage with his adoptive upbringing in Smallville, Kansas. Early visuals and set photos suggest a brighter and more optimistic take on Superman, a stark contrast to the darker, more brooding version seen in the Snyderverse. This shift towards hopefulness and escapism could resonate well with audiences in need of uplifting stories. Avatar: Fire and Ash. After a 13-year wait, James Cameron is moving full steam ahead with the rest of his Avatar movies, aiming to complete the 5-part series by 2031. The next installment, Avatar: Fire and Ash, is set to explore the aftermath of the Sully family's loss of Neteyam in Avatar: The Way of Water. As they confront the Ash Navi, Cameron continues to build an element-based saga, with the first 2 clans focusing on Earth, Neytiri's clan, and Water, the Metkayina clan. Fire and Ash will emphasize storytelling over the CGI spectacle that defined its predecessors, with Cameron promising a deeper exploration of the characters' hearts and souls. After about 9 delays, Avatar Fire and Ash is scheduled to hit theater on December 19, 2025. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies. We'll see you next time.